Hello everybody, today's video is going to be about the diet mentality versus an intuitive eating mentality and how it can be so much more freeing to follow an intuitive eating lifestyle. Stick with me to the end of the video. We've got lots of tips and tricks for you and we're going to start right after this. Hello all you messy keto kitcheners. Welcome back to a new segment. This segment is about the diet mentality versus an intuitive eating mentality. And I decided to do this video because I recognize that a lot of us, myself included, we've been taught, whether on a conscious level or a subconscious level, to be very food-centric, food-focused. If you think about it, almost everything in our lives has food surrounding it, right? You need to eat food to live, okay? But you also have parties where there's, copious amounts of food available, and there's celebrations and there's sadness, and food is very, very much everywhere in our lives. And so it becomes something that we are constantly focused on and we are obsessed with. And I learned for myself, I didn't realize how obsessed I was with food as far as what I could and couldn't have until I finally got into being able to be an intuitive eater. So what I wanted to share with you all was the difference between a diet mentality and an intuitive eating mentality. And I need to say ahead of time that this isn't something that tomorrow, for the most part, you're probably not gonna be able to start just tomorrow and be like, I'm an intuitive eater and that's how it is. The reality is that sometimes you do need a little bit of that diet mentality to get you into a habit, and then eventually you can start with a more intuitive approach to things. So what I like to say, if you've watched any of my videos before, one of my favorite sayings is, you need to know the difference between can't and shouldn't. And can't and shouldn't are not the same thing. So can't is an absolutely restrictive way to look at it. Shouldn't is a, maybe it's not the best choice for me, so maybe I'll stay away from it. It's not that I can't, it's just I probably shouldn't, it's not gonna be the best, okay? So when we talk about a diet mentality, which most of us have, and like I said, myself included, for most of my life, everything was diet mentality. It was, I can't have this kind of food, I can't have this many calories. I got on the scale and the scale didn't say what I wanted it to say, so I just have to restrict myself and be a miserable old, whatever word you want to fill in there, and make everybody else miserable because I can't have this. And when it comes to any different dietary approach, keto included, there are certain restrictions. And so because we know there's a restriction, sometimes we get into that diet mentality of can't versus shouldn't. So I kind of wanted to bring to light some of the differences when we talk about intuitive eating and how different that is from a diet mentality. So intuitive eating is more of it's knowing yourself better and being a little bit more, intuitive. So instead of saying do I deserve this food? Can I have this food? The better question is, am I actually hungry? Am I actually hungry for this, or am I bored? And boredom eating, I think we can all attest to. I think we've all been there. It can be a struggle and we kind of confuse the two. Another one is versus saying, did I work out enough to earn this food, or have I burned enough calories? Looking at it on an intuitive side from, do I actually want this food? It's not, and again, it's wanting versus needing versus I can't have, kind of just deciding the difference between that. Changing that I can't eat this to, will this satisfy or sustain me? And this one's really, really hard because like I said, we are so food-centered that we sometimes don't even realize we're just unconsciously shoving food in our mouth, and we have no realization of actually how it's making our bodies feel, how it's making our minds feel, and then later on, we kind of pay the price for it. So really being and there is a difference between mindful eating and intuitive eating, but I think the two can kind of go hand in hand. So going, will this satisfy or sustain me? And then being mindful about it, hey, the last time I had that order of onion rings dipped in ranch dressing, I didn't end up feeling so good last time. Kind of paying attention to those cues makes a big difference. We are an image conscious society, right? So if we look at the dieting aspect, it's how do I look? Do I look skinny enough? Do my jeans fit well enough? Versus how do I feel? And an intuitive lifestyle would basically be, how do I actually feel? And back to the onion rings example, well, I don't feel good when I eat that food, or hey, I actually feel all right and it's no big deal. It's kind of a decision you have to make for yourself. When we talk about calories, and every one of us does a macro breakdown, we kind of have some of us have an exact number. This is exactly the amount of calories I need to hit today. And when I switched over to an intuitive way of eating, it's not that I don't still, somewhere in my brain kind of already knows how much each food is going to be and how that's going to be on my body and how I'm going to feel about it. But now I look at it as how much food do I need today just to fuel myself? How much do I need to get through my day? And I have to look at food as just that, fuel. And now I know you're going to see people saying that all the time, and it is one of the most irritating things you'll ever hear. And the reason for that is because food is yummy. Food is enjoyable. There are so many good options out there. And it's hard to just look at it as this is just a fuel source. So please don't think that I'm telling you that you have to look at food only like a robot, like it's the Matrix and you just eat the gruel. That's not what I'm saying at all. But once you start looking at food as fuel, you will start noticing you wanting to go off track a little bit less and less. I hope that makes sense. So rather than looking at food as the enemy, look at food as just food, okay? Rather than looking at things like I can eat whatever I want if I'm on a cheat day only, look at it as I can eat whatever I want every day. But when you're being mindful about it, you won't make the same decisions. Now I want to share with you that up until very recently, I struggled with food obsession. I was constantly thinking about what my next meal was going to be. I did the restrictive, I can't have that, I'm not allowed to, oh my gosh, one bite of this and I'm gonna be off track. And I spent the majority of my life doing that, and I constantly felt guilt over food. No matter what it was, I felt like I wasn't doing it right, and unless I tracked every morsel diligently or I felt deprived, that I wasn't going to be successful. About 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, I did a protocol called Deeper State Keto. And the reason I did it was out of curiosity, but also because I wanted to see about getting myself so structured that I was following things meticulously to the letter and see what the results were. I absolutely loved the program because yes, there was results. I lost weight, I felt better. But really the thing I loved about that program so much is it got me so much better in tune with my body, and I stopped obsessing about food. That was the first time in my life that I wasn't obsessed with food. I wasn't guilty. If I had something that maybe was a little bit off plan, I didn't worry about it, beat myself up over it or anything. I was just like, okay, that didn't really make me feel the best, moving on. And it takes a while to get to, you guys. And I do not want anybody to take away the message from here and think like, I have to be an intuitive eater right now. It takes a little bit of time. But sometimes it's just, for me, it was that particular program. If you guys are interested, I'll link the information down below. It was a fantastic program, but I don't think it's necessary that you have to do it in order to get to this point. It is a development over time. But I can tell you this, since I became more of an intuitive eater, I feel so much better about myself. I know that I've gained a couple of pounds, and honestly, it doesn't really bother me. I feel good. I have energy 99% of the time. There's always that one off, that day where you're like, oh my gosh, all I want to do is nap, but that's a once in a while thing. But I have the energy to get through my day, and I'm happy. And I don't stress about going out to dinner with my husband and worrying that I can't have something, or they're not going to have something on the menu for me. It's just not an obsession anymore. And that to me has been the biggest victory. And I bet all of you guys out there would love to have that feeling as well. That feeling of not feeling such guilt over eating the wrong thing, the quote unquote wrong thing, or slightly going off plan for a day or something like that. We have enough to worry about in our lives. We have enough shame in our society, like everything. Are we a good enough employee? Are we a good enough driver? Is our credit score good? I know this is just ridiculous, but that's the truth. We have so much pressure on ourselves. Food sustains you. Food keeps you alive. We shouldn't have to worry about all the shame surrounding food as well. Anyway, if you want more information about kind of having more of an intuitive way of eating, hit me up, send me a message below, comment below, whatever it is, and I will kind of give you a couple of things I did. I do highly recommend the Deeper State Keto protocol if you're interested. It's not for everybody. It definitely takes a little bit of, it takes a lot of focus, but I gotta tell you that was one of my breakthrough moments. You do not need the program to do it, to be an intuitive eater, but it does help. So the takeaway I want you all to have, if there was one thing I would have you take away, I want you, when you're about to eat something, okay, and it's hard, like I said, but when you're about to eat something, I want you to think of what a diet mentality would tell you to do and what an intuitive eating mentality would tell you to do. So if you're about to put something in your mouth and you go, I can't eat this, I'm not allowed, I'm so bad because I'm eating this, you are focusing on the diet mentality rather than the intuitive mentality, which will say, maybe this isn't the best thing for me, or maybe this isn't what I want, or it's probably not what I'm craving, I'm just bored right now. Do that the next time you eat. Let me know what you think. Like, it takes a little time, guys, but it's so worth it and it's so freeing. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Obviously, there's a lot more to this topic, but I thought it was just a good shot to you guys to kind of get a little feel for it. So let me know what you think. I will see you in the very next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.